Welcome to the Blessed Teach Show. This is Rick, your host, here on Monday, September 23rd. And boy, do we have a lot going on. And it is exciting. Iran and the Cabal and SB2 Decode that is actually 21 images and several videos. Something that probably will take 2 shows to go over, but I'm going to try to get over as much as possible as we go through here. It's a fun. I'm actually in conversations with SB2 via email on the other topic, as you know, that I've kind of come down on a firm foundation of the bridge diagram I've been showing you guys lately. But it's good to have these types of discussions with different patriots. Remember, there's the unification of where we go, one we go all, which is fighting for the Constitution as we the people against the Cabal. And that's people of all faiths. But when it comes to the biblical text and the spiritual battle, is going to come down to those who have Christ in their heart. We need to be the remnant. We need to be the army of God, as Mark Taylor would talk about, because we need to be praying through this and helping our friends and family that aren't of the same faith. But let's get rolling here. I got a lot of people online already. Thank you so much for joining here. That's what it's awesome to start here on YouTube Live and give people notice with the events function. Sorry, you can tell I had some almonds before I came on because I skipped dinner and being so busy. But I see Cosensi was the first one on. Appreciate you got here. We got Wisconsin and Ohio. Colleen from Wisconsin and Larkspur from Ohio. Thank you guys for being on here. We got Central Texas in the house again. We got Pennsylvania. Where we got Alaska. Cool. Morrison, Colorado. Lubbock, Texas. Colorado Springs, Mississippi. Where else are we from? We got Australia. All right, Anna Major from Australia. Thank you so much. And we got people screaming on as well. So a moderator of Amy. Thank you so much, Amy. Thank you, Scoob. You guys are awesome. Really appreciate your support in helping me out here as moderators. So let's get rolling because of the time of what we're trying to get through. Just qmap.pub you see here. It's still on August the last one was August 1st, so 8chan still down, so we're not going to be seeing Q anytime soon, but it's a great place to do research. Like here I was doing research on the Pope, right? So here's 8 drops by just typing Pope in the search box, hit Command F, you can type in Pope again, and you can see there's 12 matches. Hit the back key, and boom, you've got the very first time in 545. He's talking about the Pope. And you can go through all 12 of these to get a real good feel for any topic that you want to study on qmap.pub. So remember, future proves past. There's tons of research. You've got more than you know, Q tells us. So continue to do your own research. Think for yourself. And let's keep on rolling. Here's my sponsor for today. It is relaxthepain.com. And again, joint health and mobility is not permanent. As the human body ages, there's natural decline in bone mass and density along with reduced flexibility and mobility, which has a negative impact on the quality of life. Say goodbye to achy knees, stiff shoulders, back pain, sore elbows, and wrist irritation, and feel 20 to 30 years younger, pain-free. Reclaim your youth with Joint Pain Hack now. Joint Pain Hack reduces inflammation, restores worn out joints, improves mobility and flexibility, supports joint and muscle health, supports cellular protection and repair, soothes aching muscles. And every single ingredient, Joint Pain Hack has been clinically proven to help relieve joint pain and different types of inflammation. On top of that, Joint Pain Hack actually contains the perfect doses that have been used in peer-reviewed studies. Unlike other brands that just throw in low doses of all sorts of ingredients to help sell the product, when in reality it won't do anything for you. With Joint Pain Hack, you can feel confident that you'll have the best defense against any sort of pain. So don't wait until it's too late. Start feeding your body the nutrients it deserves. Visit relaxthepain.com. Again, that's relaxthepain.com to support your health. Here we are going right into the SB2 Decode. It is, again, 21 graphics, tons of information here, and it is a beautifully done decode. A good advice if you like politics. Never miss a Lindsey Graham interview. Here's a strong supporter of Maestro, speaks his mind, vigorously defends a cause when he believes it to be right, and never misses opportunity to destroy the fake news with colorful comments and leave them speechless. Here's my favorite.
Day. Do you trust him now?
Yeah, I trust the president.
Or is it a trust but verify with him as well?
So it's not about trusting the president. Yeah, I like the president. I trust him in terms of trying to do things that are big and matter. Here's what I've got. I've got a relationship with the president at a time when I think he needs allies. I'll tell him what.
But if people say this is two-faced, where is the Lindsey Graham of standing up to Donald Trump? What do you say?
Well, I'll tell him when I think he's wrong, but let me just tell you about the critics. When I worked with President Obama, and I did on occasion, I was a hero. Now, when I work with President Trump, I'm two-faced. I know how the game's played, and I don't give a damn. I'm going to do what's best for the country. I like the president. I want to help him. I hope he's successful. He's been a friend to me, and he says some things I don't agree with. So if you don't like me working with President Trump to make the world a better place, I don't give a shit.
And there you have it, Senator Lindsey Graham, in only the way Senator Lindsey Graham can always have the last word in an interview with me. Thank you, Senator.
Oh, thank you, Lindsey. Another CNN clown bites the dust. Here he is again in this conversation. Come on, Lindsey.
But looking at North Korea as an example, as a blueprint, what do you see out of those negotiations and those two summits?
No worse than where I see better.
You see better?
No nuclear missile testing, no bombs being exploded, a personal relationship that may lead to something new and different. Everybody before Trump, how well did it work out? So to those who want to criticize the president, how well did you do in Iran? How well did you do in North Korea? You know, I'm a pretty hawkish guy. But after 18 years, it's okay to reevaluate our commitment in Afghanistan. It makes perfect sense to me. But I'm going
to kind of cut it off there. But you see, about North Korea, Lindsey admits he's sometimes a little hawkish. This can cause him to overlook important details and lead him to hasty conclusions that are rectified after further analysis. For example, on September 17th, 2019, he tweeted that POTUS measured response to Iran shooting down our drone was seen by the Iranian regime as a sign of weakness. A few hours later, POTUS responded by tweeting that instead, it was a sign of strength that some people don't understand. This tweet from POTUS was a starting point of the Lindsey riddle that ended with this 11:11 p.m. tweet posted on September 20th, 2019. The Lindsey riddle. Here it is. So it says, can you solve? And it's basically got this first tweet here on September 17th at 14:58:05, talking about the measured response of the president and real Donald Trump regarding the shooting down of an American drone was clearly seen by Iranian regime as a sign of weakness. And Donald Trump responds, no, Lindsey, it was a sign of strength that some people just don't understand. And then there's this other retweet he did here, tweet here of, I want to express my gratitude of America's magnificent FLOTUS for tonight's exquisite evening where we celebrated more than a century of loyal and devoted friendships between both our nations are blessed by uncommon courage, unfailing commitment, and unyielding character. And you can see the time of all this. And so if you look at all the timestamps, look at all the capital letters, the timestamps will lead you to actual Q drops. And that capital letters will lead you to the gematria, I think is the official spelling. Pronunciation that I get from multiple YouTube places is gematria. Some people use a soft G, others use a hard G. Before we solve this riddle, we need to refresh our memories about the Iranian drone attack. In this article, I think everybody knows about the Iranian drone attack, so I'm going to skip that in the interest of time. We decoded several tweets and gathered that it was a false flag ordered by the Clintons and carried out by clowns with the Iranian military apparatus to trigger a disproportionate response that would create chaos in the region, destabilize the world economy through unstable oil prices, and prevent Iran from reaching a peaceful solution to the current crisis. Here's a summary. And so this is the whole Hillary Clinton thing, and this was basically what he went over all the time. I'm just going to look at the main portion of this. Would you believe Hussein tried to call Kim prior to the summit? He did not have an updated phone number. North Korea generals release close the pathway for bad actors. Q. It's all about the surveillance determined that the unmanned U.S. drone shot down by Iran on June 20th, 2019 was a political scam ordered by the Rothschild Cabal and conducted by HRC and controlled assets with the Iranian military. The purpose was to disturb and weaken markets and to trigger a disproportionate response from POTUS that would cause chaos in the Middle East. And that goes on, and I'm just going to come here and finish this up. It says Hussein, HRC, Merkel, Macron, Kerry, Brennan, and all the other Iranian and non-Iranian friends are terrified that Trump, an Iranian patriot, will be able to find a peaceful solution to the Iran problem. They would rather destroy Iran in an artificially created war than risk having their multiple crimes exposed. And we're going to see a lot of those crimes coming up here. The next question is, what are these crimes? This gives me the opportunity to synthetically explain what the Iran nuclear problem is all about from its origin using the Q board. Here's the specific drops that need to be analyzed and assembled. So this is drops of Iran 1 through 2. So it goes to verse 39, drop 39. You can tell I was in the Bible earlier. Who feeds North Korea with strategic intel? Iran? Why, after Barack Obama left office, all of a sudden North Korea has nukes and the tech to miniaturize for payload delivery within the U.S.? What about NSA, CIA, DI, etc.? All confirming tech won't be in place for 5+ years. Statement made in 2016. Here's a 1249 drop saying Red Cross Iran, Red Cross Pakistan, Red Cross North Korea, Red Cross ... Define smuggle. What is smuggled? Follow the executive orders. Here's drop 299, oil, tech, sex, children. 751, Operation Merlin. Remember that, Operation Merlin. Tech, Iran deal, funding. North Korea nuclear, mini SUC, ICBM's SUC. Here you have drop 1345. Reread the crumbs regarding Iran. It was never about worldwide safety and security. It was never about nuclear disarmament. It was about opening a new untapped market. It was about securing a black site. The exchange. Money organized, planned by Bill Clinton, Hillary Rodham Clinton. 1.7 billion in cash transfer to Iran. 4 routes, 5 planes. Define bribe. Define kickback. Special interest groups, SIGs. What U.S. EU company immediately closed large deals in Iran post-deal? You'll see a New York Times article talking a lot about that. Cross-check. Codes against political plus foundational payments. Define bribe. Define kickback. So all these companies got all these big deals in Iran right afterwards, not to mention all the cash going everywhere. 2 of 2 looks at 1241 drop. Installments, 250 billion. January 1st, June 1st. Then you got 1256. What's at risk? 250 billion times 2 a year. What the taxpayers don't know. Look at this, and then we get to continuing that drop, and later it says, what CEOs have resigned post-POTUS election? Cross-check against companies in the Iran post-deal, which is interesting. Got Resonation Anon. That'd be a great thing for him to go tackle. I interviewed him a few months ago. Who is Mayor former Richard Daley? Who is Mayor current Rahm Emanuel? Hussein should be very nervous. Brennan should be very nervous. Kerry should be very nervous. Merkel should be very nervous. Plus 29. There's a lot of bribery going on and people getting paid off worldwide with the Iran deal. Why wasn't the money simply wire transferred? They were breaking U.S. laws, all kinds of reasons. Why wasn't Congress notified? Why was the U.S. government kept in the dark? U.S. law broken? Why didn't one particular plane land outside of Iran? Why did one particular plane land outside of Iran? Did Rouhani keep unknown comms as assurance? What agency did Snowden work for originally? He was a clown. Blue skies for clown op. That's what they did. They took the NSA down to give blue skies for the CIA. So here is a big picture we get after assembling the pieces very carefully. So here's 1 through 4. This is really insightful of these decodes. With the Cabal's blessing, the Clintons organized a planned the Iran program. The goal was to create a black site with international financial service capabilities allowing them to launder money, illegally sell oil and tech, and freely smuggle children through the foundation, affiliates, and connected networks like the Red Cross. The operation allowed to add Iran to their existing dark and bloody network of child smugglers and human traffickers comprised of Saudi Arabia, Epstein Island, Haiti, North Korea, China, Russia, Cuba, Sudan, Syria, Yemen, Libya, and Somalia. Here's SB2 getting really specific. This is going to freak them out when they're reading this. For leverage and protection, Iran was allowed to start a nuclear program made easily by the organized exportation of our uranium through the Uranium One transaction that was authorized by Hillary Rodham Clinton, HRC, killing 2 birds with the same stone. The Clintons collected the Uranium One cash through the Clinton Foundation and got the ball rolling in Iran. As a C_A asset, rogue part of the CIA, with no clear history, sealed records, and under China control through the intel on his birth certificate, Barack Obama was a more malleable subject than HRC, with her husband Bill, her 8 years in the White House as First Lady, and her top DC swamp career and network. The Cabal made Barack Obama win the 2008 elections and instructed him to carry out the Clintons' plan. As a good C_A Cabal puppet, Barack Obama immediately took the necessary steps to position Iran as a transitional financial and strategic intel platform used to build and strengthen North Korea's nuclear and military capabilities. The tech components of the C_A operation was codenamed Operation Merlin. Of course, the 2016 intelligence community pretended to ignore this information and assessed that North Korea would only be in position to reach and attack the U.S. by 2021 plus. Still following this Cabal's master's instructions, Hussein organized the Iran deal that was nothing but corruption at the highest levels of the U.S. and European governments involved. Q1345, define bribe, define kickback. Corruption at the UN inspection level. Q1348. Nuke inspector quit. Coincidence, days after the Iran deal withdrawal. Corruption everywhere. Q. A cash cow for friends in the international private sector. Q. 1345. What U.S., EU companies immediately closed large deals in Iran post-deal, who in return would pay for play by sending massive contributions to the Clinton Foundation. Q. 1345. Cross-check companies against political plus foundational payments. Define bribe. Define kickback. And here's a New York Times article on the European companies rushed to invest in Iran. What now? And it shows the Clinton Foundation investments, and it was Siemens and Total and Daimler Chrysler and Boeing and Puget and Shell and GE. And if you think the funds involved in this scheme were private sector money, think again. The Iran deal Hussein secured was about paying with $250 billion installments of our tax money per year with no oversight, and with the ultimate purpose of funding C_A operations and Soros-type activities after the private sector took its cut and serviced politicians through their foundations. Q1256. What's at risk? 250 billion times 2 per year. What the taxpayers don't know. If only this deal was worth something. The Iran nuclear deal was just a cover, a smokescreen allowing Iran to quietly nuclearize. In reality, the real nuclear facilities were located in northern Syria. The nuclear program never ceased, and the Iran deal was specifically and knowingly drafted by all this criminal network of U.S. and European politicians, businessmen, and UN inspectors to protect the real nuclear program. It's right here, Q1306. Define the terms of the Iran nuclear deal. Does the agreement define and confine cease and desist PRO to the Republic of Iran? What if Iran created a classified satellite nuclear facility in northern Syria? What if the program never ceased? Now you know why President Trump ordered the strikes against Syria. Q1306. Why did we strike Syria? Why did we really strike Syria? Define cover. And why Hussein and HRC used the uranium-1 vehicle to export our uranium. Q1306. Where did the uranium-1 material end up? Is this material traceable? Yes. Define cover. What if uranium-1 material ended up in Syria? Woo! In addition to this scandalous deal throwing away $500 billion a year of our tax money to enrich politicians, businessmen, and inspectors, while Iran and North Korea were still quietly and knowingly nuclearizing, Hussein was instructed by the Cabal to also organize another deal with the complicity of former mayor of Chicago, R. Daley, current mayor of Chicago, R. Emanuel Brennan, John Kerry, Angela Merkel, and 29 other identified individuals. This time, the deal was about sending $1.7 billion cash to Iran and using an old financial dispute with Iran as a pretext. To avoid questions, this deal was sealed under a top secret classification, and Congress was not notified. Since U.S. laws were being knowingly broke, despite the U.S. having the authority to do a bank-to-bank transfer cash was withdrawn from European banks to avoid traceability and to keep the U.S. government in the dark. Thanks, Shirley Brown. I appreciate it. The operation was supervised and secured by the CIA that distributed the $1.7 billion in pallets of cash and chartered 5 planes for their transportation. To secure the cash needed to continue to finance the nuclear program and the kickback and bribe portions of the deal, the C_A had 1 plane out of the 5 land outside of Iran, and a helicopter was used for further transportation of the cash. To avoid data collection from the NSA, the CIA activated their asset Snowden, who attacked the NSA by releasing details of the PRISM program in mid-2013 in order to reduce the NSA's collection capacity and grant blue skies for this planned Iranian clown op. Unfortunately, the C_A and their assets, President of Iran, Hassan Rouhani, kept his personal communications of this undisclosed side deal with the C_A as insurance, and despite Snowden's efforts, the NSA was still able to collect data about this transaction. Q. 1948. Did Rouhani keep unknown comms as insurance? What agency collects all forms of data? Obviously pointing to the NSA here. They think they are clever. Define, bribe, and kickback. We have it all. Showing Rouhani, who kept the information in not a very secure place where the NSA got to it. So the summary is here. Here it is. What the Cabal lost in 2016 U.S. elections to Trump, when the Cabal lost the 2016 U.S. election to Trump, The nukes and tech to miniaturize for payload delivery within the U.S. were immediately displayed by North Korea that was still controlled by the C_A at the time. This proves the assessment made by the intelligence community about the 2021 plus marker was purposely misleading in order to treasonously allow the quiet empowerment of C_A controlled Iran and North Korea. With this information, you now know why pulling out of this bogus Iranian deal was the right thing to do, and why the whole world of bribed politicians and so-called nuclear experts has been actively trying to convince POTUS to enforce it when he got elected and to resurrect it when he pulled out. This is illustrated in the conversation with Q. So Anon asks Q, is Macron a true ally to POTUS? Q, 1255. His sole purpose, White House visit, is to convince POTUS on behalf of the EU to remain in the Iran deal. You decide. Q. In other words, that's a big no. And this other conversation, and Anon says, is Macaroni our guy, or is this all a sham? So they were just making fun of Macron by calling him Macaroni. Q answered in Q 1262, politics. Same for Merkel. Think movie. Q. So here you have this article after article. And here's UK, France, Germany issues joint statement attacking Trump's withdrawal of Iran deal. Here's Macron, Merkel set to visit Trump with Iran hanging in the balance. Angela Merkel rejects U.S. demand to quit the Iran deal. Macron backtracks on G7 mandate for Iran after Trump denial. Here's Merkel, May, and Macron in last-ditch effort to save the Iran deal. Merkel urges return to the Iran nuclear deal to diffuse the Middle East tensions. And just a bunch of criminals and the cabal. Do you now see the real motivation of the cabal behind Spygate? They knew Trump would shut down their children's supply lanes and attack their core of their illegal activities. Do you now see why Hussein has been protected by the CIA and the media despite his bogus birth certificate? Do you now see why Comey's investigation of the Clinton emails was a programmed dead end? It's all connected. Iran is the Iran is the Pandora box because all the major bad actors were involved. What happens when Iran finds a way to directly talk to POTUS and make a deal? Yes, their crimes will be exposed. Q 1320. Suicide watch. The deal kept Iran quiet. For this reason, they will do anything to stay in the loop, like Macron has desperately been trying to, and if they can't, they'd rather have a war that would destroy Iran in its entirety and the evidence against them at the same time. So, Lindsay, do you see now what the cabal was really trying to achieve by shooting that unmanned drone? Did you see the Maestro's plan was to achieve our energy independence and provide safety from any possible instability in the Straits, while at the same time building a military presence with new advanced and classified weaponry to neutralize the cabal in Iran? It's right here. This is image 9. It says classified military equipment deployed for the Iran problem. Here you have stronger together, U.S. Navy partners. And you can see the together is misspelled. It has a missing E. So you take the together, you get E equals 5. That's back to this E5, which the link, the timestamp of 530 points to 1730 using the 1200 rule. So that is a double confirmation of this specialized weapons package, class 5, showing that this stuff moved over to stronger together. U.S. Navy partners, navies sail together in South China Sea. So basically they're moving over here. And the capital letters come to 114, which in Gematria is admonition. And then you can see over here, this also points to this link here. This is just basically the next day. The next day, a message confirmed by the DoD says that these assets will join the USS Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group and a U.S. Air Force Bomber Task Force in the Middle East region in response to indications of heightened Iran readiness to conduct offensive operations against U.S. forces and our interests. So guys, I'm telling you what, with our special access programs and our secret space program and all these weapons that we have, these class 5 specialized weapons package can do amazing things. So here's the decoded message. The Department of Defense has approved the movement of additional forces and implementation of highly classified military equipment for Iran. The leaders of Iran should read this as a strong warning. So fake news? Why aren't you reporting the U.S. Navy spelling errors? Afraid of having to accept and confirm the comms? Ha 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 ha. Q 1856. These people are stupid. Enjoy the show. With this strategic move, POTUS is in position to gather the intel that allows him to order devastative attacks with surgical precision and without leaving any fingerprints. You thought the explosion at the Simnan launch site, one in Iran that occurred on August 29, 2019, was an accident? Think again. Why do you think it took days for Iran to admit something happened there? POTUS coded a secret message to the Cabal and Iran in the very tweet where he states the U.S. was not involved and wished good luck in determining what really happened. So this is trolling by Trump all the way. So here's a picture of that site, that missile site. It says, the United States of America was not involved in the catastrophic accident. See how it says catastrophic accident? During final launch preparations for the Safir SLV launch and Seaman launch site 1 in Iran. I wish Iran best wishes and good luck in determining what happened at Site 1. Of course, he puts the time of 12:44, that being in 12:44 here. Also, the capital letters actually say, this is your final notice. Saying, so these special access programs we have around them and these special weapons, they stopped a catastrophic accident actually. So this is Q 1157. Has POTUS made a statement found not to be true? Nothing stated should be discounted. Moving fast. Q. And here's that 1244 that brings in because of the timestamp, right? And it's talking about thousands of people are on the streets cheering and hugging each other, jumping up and down and honking their horns just about North Korea when they got freed. Like North Korea, they have been freed. Assets on the ground. It's talking about freedom, I think, and so here is the decoded message. The capital letters is clear message to the Cabal and its assets in the Iranian chain of command. This is your final notice. The operation is proof POTUS has the intel about all the sensitive sites in Iran and its vicinity and can order to destroy them at any given time. Good luck with your ballistic missile and nuclear program. Do you see why POTUS is not in a hurry and why Iran threatening to raise its uranium enrichment level is just a poker move? With the help of the European friends and the fake news, Iranian authorities are screaming as loud as they can, using the enrichment threat to force negotiations, and of course, POTUS is not taking the bait. This timestamp pulls Q 1244, where we get the indication that the model using to free North Korea is being replicated in Iran with patriots and other allies. And it's actually the model used to free North Korea is being replicated in Iran with patriots and other allies. Q 1157. We know POTUS would only state the truth. Is there a contradiction? No. What happened was that the site was attacked and this was not a catastrophic accident. It is therefore accurate to state that the U.S. was not involved in an accident that did not occur. Because they stopped it. We stopped it. Did you notice there are 71 days between the drone attack and Simnan response? The reason is the maestro wanted to reveal the context in which he ordered the Seaman operation. Analyzing this number, 71 provides spectacular confirmations and pulls the very important Q 1948 drop of Rouhani, Hussein, and the pallets set Q 751 in Operation Merlin, Emmanuel Macron, and the release and the reason why the maestro intentionally misspelled his name at the G7, and last but not least, his former national security advisor Bolton that just got fired a few days ago. Look, it's beautiful. The beautiful 71. Here you have the drone attack, 71 days before the Seaman launch site was attacked, and 71 is Emmanuel. It also means Merlin. Remember we were talking about Operation Merlin? That's right. This actually, if you look at this, what we looked at earlier, talking about Hassan Rouhani. Hussein should be very nervous. Brennan should be very nervous. Kerry should be very nervous. Merkel should be very nervous. Plus 29. How were the pallets of cash divided? And here's Trump's tweet that actually is talking about Emmanuel Macron misspelled. And then you have lunch with Emmanuel again here. And that all report, all this points to the 71, Operation Merlin in post 751. And interesting that he tweeted this at 1748. So that brings in this dropped 1748 where he says, the many protesters, Boston. And if you look back here at the 71 and take that breakdown, it's circling the alphabet twice. You pull this all out, you can actually get to Bolton. Bolton pulled in by plus 71. So Bolton is basically a controlled clown. As you can see, everything we said earlier about Iran is summarized in this beautiful 71-day delta. And as a reward, Macron and Bolton are pulled in. Before we analyze this additional data, did you notice the date Q 1948 was dropped? Peruvian coffee for those who saw the seeming attack occurred exactly 1 year to the day after Q 1948 was dropped. The trick was to check the date of the surveillance satellite image with the smoke indicating the attack occurred a few hours before. So if you look at this right here in the smoke and you come back here, you can see the time frame. So basically this happened on August 29th, but you go back a few days, it's August 28th. The delta is exactly 365 days, 13 hours, 17 minutes and 46 seconds. Do you believe in coincidences? Nothing to see here. So you take that information and you pull in, here is actual 1948 talking. What we're talking about? All about Iran, all about Emmanuel, all about Richard Daley, and about all being nervous the 29 people who operated the planes. Why did one particular plane land outside Iran? Did Rouhani keep unknown comms as insurance, as we've read? So let's now focus on Bolton. What do you do when you just got elected and are surrounded by DC swamp and so-called foreign allies led by corrupt politicians that have been actively plotting against your election? What do you do when Soros is financing people protesting while the C_A is conducting nuclear tests in North Korea and the Mueller probe is being prepared to attack your presidency? You endure and you quietly fight the swamp until its power goes way down. Remember that decode, about the way down decode? How do you achieve this without alarming the enemy? Answer: you administrate them strong sleeping pills by making them believe they are still in control. How? By hiring people they control and using the yogurt fermentation principle discussed in this article. And that was a previous article that he dug into there, but I'm going to skip that based on time. This is why Bolton was hired. Obviously, you can see these in my show notes. So if you go to blessedtoteach.com with a 2, you'll be able to see all this stuff and go grab this in more detail if you have the time. This is why Bolton was hired and given the national security advisor position. As long as the Cabal had this position, they were snoring, even though the firing of Coates should have been a wake-up call. Do you see that as soon as Bolton got fired, the Cabal activated a whistleblower? That was the last line of defense within the White House. Bolton is the type of officials the Cabal loves. His known inability to communicate prevents him from integrating a team and therefore exposes him to easier outside control. The cherry on the top is his deranged sex life that caused his abused ex-wife to leave him, as a well advertised by Larry Flint in 2005. This was the Cabal putting him on notice before he was appointed U.S. ambassador to the UN. They were letting him know they had it all about him and about his alleged taste for underage girls, and that in the event that he decided to go off script one day, the fake news would continue what Flint started. So here's Bolton, a deranged sex life and proven inability to communicate. So here's a whole article. It says corroborated allegations that Mr. Bolton's first wife, Christina Bolton, was forced to engage in group sex have not been refuted by the State Department despite inquiries posted by Hustler magazine, published by Larry Flint concerning the allegations. Mr. Flint has obtained information from numerous sources that Mr. Bolton participated in paid visits to Plato's Retreat, the popular swingers club that operated in New York City in the late 1970s and early 1980s. The first Mrs. Bolton conduct raises the presumption that she fled out of fear for her safety, or at a minimum it demonstrates that Mr. Bolton established inability to communicate or work respectively with others extended to his intimate family relations, said Mr. Flint. And here he is, allegation attributed to Greg Dixon, Bolton's nephew. John Bolton was reportedly kicked out of Plato's Retreat in New York City after propositioning a 16-year-old outside of the club. John Bolton's divorce, group sex allegations. Here's an article out of Scoop World. John R. Bolton court divorce records show his first wife fled home when he was traveling abroad. So here is the comments of SB2T saying, despite Larry Flint's campaign against Bolton, he was still appointed U.S. ambassador to the United Nations in August 2005. The fake news did not run the story as it deserved, and Larry Flint's original article got buried. Message sent, message received. Bolton was a remote-controlled ambassador, and under his watch, Iran's leader Saddam Hussein, who had no WMDs, was found guilty of crimes against humanity on November 20th, 2006. Bolton held his position at the UN until December 31st, 2006, one day after Saddam Hussein was hung. What do you think Bolton's reputation is in the Middle East? Not too good, would it be? The maestro knew all this when he appointed him, and he killed two birds with the same stone. He put the Cabal to sleep and monitored all Bolton's comms to know who he was reporting to and what the Cabal was trying to achieve through him. How do I know? It's right here in a tweet the maestro posted on September 12, 2019. Bolton was a traitor. We have it all. And here's a tweet by Trump where he's talking about Cuba and Bolton. He says, in fact, my views on Venezuela, and especially Cuba, were far stronger than those of John Bolton. He was holding me back. And then you can see 1222. What's interesting here is that from a Gematria perspective, from the capital letters would be POW. And he's actually got pictured a Gitmo. That's why he talked about Cuba. Pointing to Gitmo, that's where John Bolton's going to end up. 1222. The public and private Twitter accounts, they all have them. That's what he pointed to by the timestamp. And you see here, then the very next tweet, that was 1222 and 1123. Who is standing next to Pence and POTUS? Message, Bolton cleaning house. Out they go. A clean house is very important. The message was the NSA will monitor Bolton and his operation will allow to clean house. Admiral Rogers, former NSA director. Decoded message, Bolton was a prisoner of war, but he didn't know it. He was allowed in all the highest national security position in order to be monitored. All his comms were under military surveillance, and this allowed to gather evidence, identify points of interest and actors, and reconstitute the Cabal's information and chain of command. Monitoring Bolton allowed to clean house. Q. 2249. How do you catch a fish? Bolton was the bait. These people are stupid. Bolton's treasonous activities were confirmed in the September 18, 2019 conversation between POTUS and Kansas. Here's Bolton failed the SEC test. Brute force necessary. So you can see here where Secretary Pompeo talking about congratulations, secure within the internationally recognized borders. You look at all the capital letters, you're going to see they will always choose evil. Security test D3, it points to by the timestamp. Here's Trump talking about very successful presidential envoy for hostage affairs in the State Department as our new national advisor. I have worked long and hard with Robert. He will do a great job. Talking about Robert O'Brien here. But we're looking at the timestamps and the capital letters. Dealing with others. Brute force will be necessary. And here's John Kelly and John Bolton have a shouting match over immigration. Here's the decoded message. Bolton was given a chance to be on the team, but he chose to work for the cabal instead. Very similar to Coach, right? He failed all the security tests and treasonously dealt with the other side while claiming to loyally advise POTUS. His position on Iran, North Korea, and more importantly, on the border clearly showed he was off team and was working for the cabal. He was brutally let go when the evidence gathered proved there was no hope he would change. Q 1131. Drop after testimony. Are you learning yet? Q. In the following tweets, the maestro confirms Bolton was just a pawn with the expiration date. Bolton pawn used, more coming, network taken down. So here's a tweet with a retweet at this point in time that would bring in 933. It was not his choice, pawn used. Also, the next tweet says, more coming. Keep your ... Real Donald Trump names new national security advisor. There it is. That was the 934 that brought that one in. Decoded message. The firing of Bolton is confirmed. He did not resign. He was a pawn the maestro used to clean the house of September 10th, 2019, and what was his expiration date. We are informed more is coming. It was already started with the whistleblower. Bolton was the ultimate cleaning agent. That's kind of interesting, isn't it? Hey, I wanted to get to my second supplier here, or supporter. Sponsor would probably be the best word. But this is that Q coin, guys. Go to greatawakening.com and get yourself one of these. You can get 2 of them. You get $5 off using my coupon code, which is blessed to teach with spaces in between it and the number 2, blessed space, the number 2, space teach. You're getting greatawakening.com. Again, now with 8chan gone and lots of confusion out there behind the scenes as to what is happening with the Q drop, you QAnon supporters and those of you who follow Q need something to cheer you up. As you know, the movement has gone from strength to strength since Q's first off the record post in the coming storm. And these are so cool. They come with that I've shown you that envelope that has a wax seal. It says "We the People," has a card in there, has an augmented reality. So if you look at this coin, it's just fabulously done. Look at this, a Q. It's got where we go one, we go all. Got the Great Awakening on the back. It's got a bunch of hidden codes and 17s, as well as several other things that you have to go find yourself. The multiple 17s, and then there's this little lightning bolt. Works with a actual augmented reality app that you download on your phone, and you can play videos of the best hits of Q. So anyway, it's a awesome coin. You can get 2 of these and get $5 off if you buy 2 of them. Get a holding case as well as everything I just talked about. So even if Q never posts again, you can keep the real thing alive with this coin. It's a very special celebration of an idea, a movement like no other, brought to life here. All right, so go grab yourself a couple of these Q coins. Again, at greatawakening.com. Thank you, John Pollock. Thank you, Rick. Great work as always. I appreciate it, Joanne. You're awesome. So let's get back to this drop, as it is just an amazing. I need to do a quick time check because I know this is extremely long. 48 minutes. We're going to keep on rolling here. We are through image 16 of 23, so I think we'll go ahead and finish this. It might go a little bit long. Apologize for the time, but it's just a very deep decode, and I still want to pray and do a little Bible verse at the end. Here, under the disguise of talking about environment friendly cars, the maestro uses the Bolton liability example to reveal how he intends to heal our nation, heal our government from decades of secret society manipulation. The Wall, a new take. So here he is in a tweet talking about revoking far less expensive, safer, when he's talking about the cars. And you take all the capital letters there, you get a bad cheating Michelle. And if you look at the timestamp, you're looking at 1019, use the 2200 rule, and you're at 2219, sexual misconduct in the public shelter to accept resignation. And then you see this tweet here is talking about highly polluting cars will be replaced by new extremely environmentally friendly cars. California standard, new U.S. standard. Again, you take the capital letters, you get top shelf. You look at 1019, and you can look at here. This continues, and it goes. It's also 1019. But all the capital letters here talk about Trump's wall. Far safer and much less expensive. More cars will be produced under the new and uniform standards, meaning significantly more jobs. So the decode we have here is we got Trump's wall, we got top shelf, we got a bad cheating code, we got the federal sex crime charges. And what do we get from the decoded message? It says Bolton was an old compromised DC creature, and his sexual misconduct file was kept and used to fire him at the time the plan required it. Tweeting about polluting cars, the maestro reveals the advantages of hiring people who are not compromised with high integrity, like Pompeo and Trust Kansas, etc. Right? Not only their behavior in the workplace is impeccable and favors good results, but they remain safe from the attacks of the cabal, for which blackmail is the favorite sport. This approach, consisting of promoting among the skilled those with integrity, will ensure a safer exercise of government power while giving a fair access to the multiple government positions that were hijacked by secret societies. That's why we need to give Trump 4 more years, as he's slowly draining that swamp, right, in a big way. In the next tweet, we learned Bolton was a cabal asset for life because he was caught in a honeypot. So you see here's Trump tweeting, and all the capital letters about the Air Force here is screwed, and he knows it. And also debt would be the 31, and it just takes us based on the timestamp of 1100 to this Christmas in DC. Who's arranging the private meetings? Avoid Facebook public disclosure. Retweet how DC swamp works. And the decoded message is Bolton's behavior with his ex-wife, his frequent visits to swingers clubs, and his alleged taste for underage girls made him an easy target for the DC swamp that preys on weaknesses of powerful people to set them up. Q 158. What if Hugh Hefner was a clown in America? What is a honeypot? Define blackmail. Bolton was targeted, and by agreeing to go to these DC private meetings organized by the cabal, he allowed them to collect the material needed to blackmail him for his entire life. Bolton screwed, and he knows it. Woo! In the next 7 tweets, the maestro reveals the items on the cabal's shopping list that Bolton was asked to treasonously deliver in the name of national security. So look at this, the cabal's shopping list in the name of national security. So each one of these is kind of interesting. They're taking a tweet as well as a drop from Q, right? And this first one is all about the subject of the cabal wanting to protect Planned Parenthood and head up on investigation, give them heads up on investigations. And then here you have the second thing with this tweet and this drop. The second thing the cabal want to do is work for the Iran deal, sabotage Trump's policy in Iran and North Korea. So you can see these are interesting. The third thing they wanted to do here is looking at these pieces is they wanted to protect the Fed and our money flow. You can hear he's talking about Jay Powell and the Federal Reserve fail again. No guts, no sense, no vision, a terrible communicator. So that's all this was Trump's attack on what the cabal's trying to protect. Here's the fourth thing the cabal's trying to do here. Cabal's trying to, oops, jumped on me. Get back here. Get back here. Jumped way up, didn't it? So when you blow something up too large, sometimes it'll jump on you. Here we go. Fourth thing, protect secret societies and the blood supply lanes. Because here's a link to this. Remember that whole blood comment there on that drop. Here's some more. Fifth thing, protect secret societies, sabotage the wall, and Trump's policy on immigration. So here's and so that was the cabal shopping list in the name of national security, right? The cabal doesn't care about us at all. All they care about is their power and their control. The sixth thing, sabotage Trump's foreign policy and the U.S.-Russia relations in particular. Find allies within the Trump administration. right? Here's the number 7 thing that they wanted to protect: our assets in the Supreme Court. And I'm talking about the Cabal's assets. And who they're looking at, this points to John Roberts. We know, because he talked against the Obama's various rulings, right? But the ones that just allow Obamacare to actually be passed and looked as legal was just a total him being compromised. And there's been many others that we see him being compromised on, such as the citizenship question. Protect our assets in the Supreme Court and in the judiciary system. Provide us with sensitive intel on contemplated strategies. And so here are the final confirmations on Bolton. So these are all numbers about the date between Bolton appointed in the NSA and Bolton fired was exactly 520 days. If you take the gematria of 520, that can actually mean John Bolton is too narcissistic to ever admit that he is wrong. If you look at the date of the starting of the life post in the NSA position and Bolton's birthday, you get 71 days. We've talked about that. That can mean Flynn, NSA position, resurrect, happy birthday. If you look at Bolton's Libya model statement in North Korea and when Bolton was fired, it's exactly 500 days. 500 can mean delivered on shopping list with NK. Basically, that 500 actually means they will try everything to make us separate. And then this Iranian attacks of the U.S. drone, the 71, which we talked about before, between the two attacks. The same attack was 71 days. Leaker. Bolton in the dark. So here is the decoded message. In these 4 instances, we see how the Maestro coded several confirmation messages using number of day deltas on the date Bolton was fired and other significant markers. The Maestro has set Bolton's lifespan at the NSA position for 520 days to reveal Bolton's narcissism and his refusal to admit he was wrong to allow the Cabal to blackmail him. The Maestro fired Bolton exactly 500 days after he made his Libya model comment to confirm that Bolton's motivation was to sabotage the excellent relation POTUS has developed with Chairman Kim. Within the 70-day difference between the drone attack and Siemens' response, POTUS reveals Bolton was a leaker and that the 7 operation was a success because Bolton was kept in the dark. August 29, 2019 is the date the Cabal and Bolton realized the Maestro played them. 71 days separating Bolton's first post, NSA day, and his next birthday is the Maestro trolling the Cabal. Do you remember what you did to Flynn and hijacked a position? Well, I endured. Hostage no more. Take back your last leaker. The position is resurrected. Thanks for playing. Woo! With this precision and multiple numeric confirmations, you can now watch with some fun, with the same fun I had, how Bolton tried to save face when he got fired and how his resignation letter was dated September 10th, 2019, to mercilessly confirm the plan. And here's this YouTube of the drama between the resignation or fired. Here it is.
Over here at the White House for the last 4 hours or so, the he said that has been going on between President Trump and the now former National Security Advisor, John Bolton. The president broke the news of Bolton's ouster on Twitter at noon earlier today, saying he essentially fired Bolton with this tweet right here. Quote, I informed John Bolton last night that his services are no longer needed at the White House. I disagreed strongly with many of his suggestions, as did others in the administration, and therefore I asked John for his resignation, which was given to me this morning. About 15 minutes after that, Bolton then went on to Twitter to respond to basically say that's not how he believes it all played out. Quote, I offered to resign last night, and President Trump said, let's talk about it tomorrow. Here was the timeline with all of this. At about 11 o'clock this morning, the White House updated its guidance saying that Bolton, the Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, and the Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin would be in the briefing room taking questions from reporters and talking to reporters. That was at 11. The president's tweet saying Bolton was no longer a part of the team came 1 hour after that. As you can see in the video here, by the time that briefing rolled around at 1:30, Bolton was no longer a part of the White House team. The Secretary of State was asked whether or not he was surprised how all of this played out. Listen.
I'm never surprised.
Well, let me ask you this.
And I don't mean that on just this issue.
All right, so you can see that that is just Bolton trying to save face, and it didn't work too well. Did you notice how Bolton's firing coincided with Pompeo and Mnuchin addressing the press? This is the clue needed to solve the happy hunting challenge in item 3 of the Cabal shopping list, which is all about the Federal Reserve up above. Can you solve? We'll go through it in the next article and solve the rest of the Lindsay riddle. In the meantime, I'll give you a hint to get you started. It's in the very first sentence of the Iran summary. Quote, with the Cabal's blessing, the Clintons organized and planned the Iran program. Close quote. Q, 1897. Find the matches, open source. They never thought they'd be hunted. Woo! Uh-oh. Looks like I got a connection problem. No, okay, we're good. Looks like we're good. So I want to end, guys, on just maybe a couple Bible scriptures and prayer. This was like an amazing long decode of SB2 decode of 21 images and a lot of stuff, but you can just see it's streaming with awesome information. That's got the Cabal freaking out, I'm sure. And let's look real quickly at, I've been going over my bridge diagram quite a bit, right? And this is, I want to kind of go back to the very beginning of this and just go over the truth of how you're saved and what Satan hates this. That's why I like to spend time on it, because we know that we have a chasm between us and God. The only true God, the great I am, Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, right? The only true God. I talk about we need to unite around people that especially in the spiritual battle of all this, people that have the right God, the right Jesus, and the right gospel. And this explains the right gospel very clearly. So if you're trying to get to heaven based on your works or deeds, it leads to death. Because it says, Romans 3:23 says, for all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. And Romans 6:23 says, for the wages of sin is death. So if the wages of sin is death, and we've all sinned and fall short of the glory of God, there's this huge chasm. And you can actually run and start jumping, right? That is weird. That it looks like we're attacked with a very bad connection for some reason when I've got, hopefully we're coming back here and there. But anyway, what's interesting is if you actually like Carl Lewis trying to jump a mile, you're not going to do it. It doesn't matter if you're 20 feet or 30 feet or 40 feet. Your efforts, your works are just not going to work. So what do you have to do? You have to depend on Jesus to actually get you across this chasm, because you can't do it yourself. It's your works are as filthy rags. So Christ died for your sins and offers you eternal life. You can see 1 Peter 3:18, for Christ also suffered once for sins, the righteous and unrighteous, to bring you to God. He was put to death in body, but made alive in the spirit. So this is a free gift you get from Christ here. Yeah, I'm still buffering back and forth to a very bad connection, which is really weird with the connection that I have in this place. So I just got attacked by something. But anyway, the whole point here is that this is the free gift of God, and this is the truth. Christ died for your sins and offers you eternal life. And one thing you know, it's a free gift. That's what Ephesians 2:8-9 says. You have a free choice of crossing over by accepting his free gift. For his grace you have been saved through faith, and this is not from yourself, it is the gift of God. Ephesians 2:8-9. We got attacked. This connection got attacked heavily, but that is the truth. And I tell you, every false religion, and Satan's going to attack this with all his false religions, with all his Christian cults. They're going to attack the fact that it's a free gift from Christ. They're going to attack the fact that there's even a chasm between us, that we need a Savior, and that it's actually the true God is the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. This will be attacked by Satan. Hey, with that, I'm going to just say a prayer. Too bad that this got really attacked from a connection perspective. So we'll wrap her up here. Heavenly Father, just thank you so much for the truth of this gospel, that you love this enough because you want a personal connection with us. That's the most important thing that many religions corrupt and say, that you aren't this specifically close God. They make you out to be a distant God. But no, you are a God that made us in your image, and that you want a personal relationship with us. That's why you wanted to restore this problem of sin that you had, and you restored it through coming here to earth as Emmanuel, God with us, as Jesus Christ, dying for us and allowing a sacrifice of blood to be able to cover us, a sacrificial covering over us, so that when the judgment happens, we will see the substitutional life of Christ versus us. What a beautiful thing. Lord, I just pray the remnant will stay together, that understands and has Jesus in their heart, that us will be used in a mighty way for your kingdom. Lord, we pray for this movement. We pray for your will to be done on this earth. Lord, use us in a mighty way. And we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. All right, guys, sorry for the bad connection coming off and on here, but just wanted to say thank you so much for joining me. You guys are special people. I love you. And wow, what a decode by SB2, Iran, and the Cabal. Getting more details. Looks like we're going to get some more as well when we get the rest of the Lindsay rule. This is your Blessed Teach show here on September 23rd, Monday. God bless you guys. We'll talk to you.